Office released this photo of the gun they say belonged to a suspect who threatened police and kicked in several residential front doors in Jacksonville. Action News Jack's Zion Dakota joins us live from the scene near Ruggles Road and Century 21 Drive on the south side. And Zion, you've been on the scene since 4 o'clock this morning.
I have, Phil, and the early morning began with a heavy police presence. That has since winded down. Police even migrated across the street and were looking at a car. And then they also were centered on this house behind me where there were bullet holes on the garage of the front door that a neighbor tells us was kicked in. It's also a home where police were concentrated earlier. JSO says on Monday night after 11, a man armed with this gun kicked in the front doors of 4 homes at a townhome complex off Ruggles Road and Century 21 Drive in Jacksonville. The sheriff and the undersheriff say the suspect did not physically hurt any of the victims, nor did he steal anything, but he did threaten 2 residents. Authorities added that the suspect, who was a convicted felon in Florida and Texas, approached them with this gun.
He actually pointed that handgun at those officers. They fired shots, killing that suspect.
I looked outside of my window and I saw my house surrounded by cops and all their guns pointing right at my neighbor's house. And then the next thing I know, I hear some yelling and they're dragging his body out front.
Jessica Sauls lives next door to where she says the shooting happened. She tells me police and fire crews were hosing off blood from her neighbor's front lawn, which we caught on camera. Sauls described hearing bullets.
It was like 8 to 10, and it literally sounded like the grand finale of the fireworks. It was just very fast, very loud.
Sauls sent me these photos of a handcuffed man who she says was the suspect, face down in the grass. She says first responders rendered aid to the man, then took him to a hospital.
When I looked out last night, I could see blood just coming out of the man's head, out of his chest. It was a lot to see. It's very nerve-wracking to see a police-involved shooting. You know, you see it on the news, you see it, in movie scenes, but to have it happen in your front yard and to have children at home.
For the mom of a 14 and 24-year-old, this is unsettling.
They're very shaken, especially my son. He's autistic, and he, without me knowing, looked out the window and saw the guy on the ground, and that has shaken him up a lot.
Now, Saul says that she had her car broken into last month and she's glad her neighbors are safe. And though she supports the police, she says it was unsettling to see a man die. And that is her neighbor who just walked in front of the property there. That is the homeowner who Action News Jack spoke with earlier this morning. Understandably, she did not want to speak to the media as she was shaken up about this entire incident. But police were concentrated on her front lawn, and the neighbor who you heard from in the story just now says that it was her front door that was kicked in, and she was just there taking photos, surveying the damage on her property here this afternoon. For local coverage you can count on the south side, I'm Zion Dakota, Action News Jax.
There have been 8 officer-involved shootings so far this year. That's about half of the number in all of 2025, and it ties the number for all of 2024. This is the 6th time this year a person was shot and killed by JSO. Compare that to 11 last year and 3 in 2024.
Jacksonville police are looking